Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about Ableton workflow and more precisely about Ableton preset. And I wanted to share with you the preset I use all the time, almost every day. Some of them I actually made them as a default preset, which means when I load the device, it's my own preset and not the Ableton one. These are a great way to improve your workflow and just speed up the process, mainly because you have something you like, something that works, and you don't need to recreate from scratch all the time. If you have a preset that works, that you can tweak a little bit to obviously adapt to the track, that's a great way to quickly move on. And yeah, let's go into Ableton. So the first example I have is basically with the Ableton Reverb. So I set my default reverb like this because it's the way I set. I like how it sounds. It's pretty versatile. It works with everything. And then most of the time I will just adjust the dry wet or the GK. And this is great because I know it's work. I don't have to all the time reset my reverb. I don't have to look over like 10,000 presets to know which one's gonna sound great. I know this one sounds great. So all of the presets I will show you, you can grab them. I put the link in the description. They are for free. So if you want a preset like this and you want to set as your default preset, you can just right click on it and you can save as default preset. So now every time you're gonna load a reverb, you're gonna have the exact same setting coming up. And I did that as well for delay. Your delay device might be slightly different than this one. For example, here I set the dry wet and the feedback around 30% because I know that's the value more or less I goes around. Usually it's a nice sweet spot, but sometimes you can add more wet amount. Sometimes I will shorten the feedback if I don't want too long delay, and the time I set to 3 because that's the one I use the most. But obviously it doesn't mean I always use this one. I can just unsync them, and for example 2 and 5 usually works well together. Same again, you can filter and use the ping pong as you want, but you can take things further. And as well, for example, with delay, I have this stereo with effect that you've probably seen already using in my video that I like to use. It's basically a hash effect, which is a way to use the delay to kind of create this nice stereo effect. And so it's all set like this with the dry wet 100%, no feedback, and this is always the same. I will always change a little bit the time, but that's just like small step that you don't have to reset all the time everything. Same goes with filter delay. I have this preset that I know I like and work most of the time. Now it might not be the right for you, but I really encourage you to take 2 minutes to find a kind of preset you like and then just right click save a default preset, and it will make your life easier. Now obviously I don't have like this for all device from Ableton. There is some that I don't have. For example, all of the drive one, for example amp, jump bus, I will anyway always tweak because it depends what you want, one type of distortion, one type of saturation. So I don't really have like default preset or preset for this type of distortion. And honestly, same goes with dynamic, which are more like a compressor, and the EQ, which are really depend of each track. So for that I don't really have like default preset. But for example, other devices like chorus or flanger, phaser, I've kind of have presets that I know I will use often. So this one I will put them as well, you can see, but mainly chorus it will to add some stereo and a bit of detune effect. For the flanger, sometimes I will start from scratch. Sometimes I will like go through some preset. I have some gonna be like more like hypnotic flanger. Some are more like this one, which I know work well. I call it pad slow movement because I know it's gonna work well with pad. It's gonna have some slow movement, and that's really great because sometimes I'm working on the pad. I want to add a bit of movement to my pad, and I know that a phaser flanger is perfect for that. And on the end, because it's a subtle movement, I don't really want to spend 5-10 minutes just to set everything. I can just grab this preset. I know like I can still tweak if I don't like something, but it's pretty much done and I can move on. But then after I have other presets, for example with the Corpus, I have this bright key preset, which is basically I think the brightness, which is the default preset from Ableton, and I tweak a little bit, which usually just help add a bit of high frequency. And I have one as well that I call airbase that you probably see me using often as well, which basically this preset has been inspired by the Wave plugin airbase, which basically is gonna add some harmonics in your low end. So it's pretty nice to add a bit of bass to your sound. But yeah, I wanted to share with you this preset because sometimes when I create track from scratch or when I do tutorial, I load a reverb or delay and it might be different than the one you have. So now you can have the same than me and follow up more easily the tutorial. So in order to save the preset on your own library, you're gonna need to drag and drop the file. So for example, I'm gonna select the reverb default, and you're gonna need to drop it in your user library on your reverb folder. And then now when you go to your audio effect, you go to reverb, you should have your reverb default copy here. Then the most important preset, I will recommend to put O in front of it. So like this, when you open your reverb here, they are like the first one coming, so they are the most important one. So another things I wanted to talk to you about, it's when you create a new audio track or MIDI track, which you're gonna probably do a lot, Control Shift T for a MIDI track, Control T for an audio track. You can see mine by default come with a utility and an EQ8. Yours might come empty. And in order to do that, you just create a MIDI track. So yours, it's gonna come like this, and you just drag and drop whatever you wanna put it on. I decided to put utility and EQ because I will almost most of the time use them on each track. Utility, I will always control the width, sometimes the bass in mono, but as well the volume I will control with this, and as well the panning. And EQ because most of the time EQ is not always true, but I often EQ, so I will put it, and it's just a quick tips. And I does the same for the audio. So once you put your two device, you just right click on it and then save as a default MIDI track, and then every time you create a new MIDI track, this comes straight away with. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Hope you like these few tips. Don't forget, you can grab all the presets. There is some other I didn't show that I will put as well. The link in the description, you can grab them for free. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you soon. Bye bye.